Hi everyone and welcome to the EM podcast. EM stands for my brand, for my initials, Andrea Mladin, but this podcast is built also around one question: where I am. It's a reflection on who you are right now, where you came from, and what you are moving toward. Not where you pretend to be, not where you used to be, but where you actually stand today, and what is pulling your next move. Each guest you will meet here stopped long enough to answer on one honest question: I am in 2026. So let's find out where they stand. Discovering. That is where Abi Horton is in 2026. She crossed oceans, switched industries, and still asks the hard questions. In this conversation, honest, grounded, and real. It's great to have you here. How is your morning? You are in Florida, right?
Yeah. Thank you for having me. Yep, I'm in Florida. I've been in the States for about 10 years.
So, how would you introduce yourself today?
I think I am in the thick of my entrepreneurial journey. I think that sometimes I have to remind myself of that, that I think I'm in what can feel like the messy middle, but I think I will look back on this time and realize that this was actually pretty incredible because I'm kind of learning so much and growing so much and kind of moving in different directions that I never imagined that I would be moving in, and meeting incredible people. And I think that I can see my future more clearly than I ever have before. And so I think that I'm at quite a pivotal point, and that's really exciting. I think I have a long way to go, but also, I'm really excited for what's to come.
Can you take us a little back? How was your childhood, like growing up and between US and UK, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my dad's American and my mum's British. So I grew up in England, and yeah, I mean, I had a good childhood. We moved around a bit, which I think makes sense as to now I've moved around a lot myself as an adult. Um, but yeah, I think I always had a little bit of an entrepreneurial flair. I remember washing cars when I was really young. I'd go around and knock on all the neighbors' doors, and I'd wash their cars. And I think I only charged like £1. Which now, when I think about it, even with inflation, that was a steal. Um, so yeah, I think back about that, and I think that's kind of funny. But
It's cute. I think it's good to reflect, and there was also voice acting. And what did that season of your life teach you?
wow, well, becoming a voice actor actually was my first business working for myself. And I think it's funny because I think about the time when I was really young and I was washing people's cars, and at one point I trained how to do nails, and so I was working as like a nail technician. I was doing all my friends' nails, and so I think I've always had that kind of entrepreneurial flair. But there was definitely a period in my life when I was growing up where I didn't think that I would be able to have my own business. I just didn't think that that was for me. I think that comes quite closely aligned with my kind of self-worth and just how much confidence I had in my own abilities, which is something that I still battle with. But it was actually my voice acting business that made me start my own business and realize that actually I was running my own business and I was working for myself. And I think a lot of people who work as voice actors don't consider themselves as a business, but it absolutely is a business. You are just the product. And so I learned so much in doing that. And that's really what gave me the confidence to start kind of branching out into other businesses, and now kind of have this real estate business, which is kind of the reason that we connected through the group, was my real estate business, and helping people finding temporary housing and working with landlords. And so that that journey of being a voice actor really led me down a path that I had no idea about, and came out in an area that I couldn't have guessed. If you told me 10 years ago, I would have been like, absolutely not, there's no way that that's going to happen. But here we are.
But that is some way connected with building a personal brand, right?
I mean,
You are a product, so you actually learned early age. Yeah.
yeah, it's funny how it all kind of interconnects. And that's another reason why I always say you can never compare your journey to somebody else's, because there's so many parts of their life or your life that you've had or you've experienced that somebody else hasn't. And even, my work as a voice actor, and how that relates to other areas of my life, it all contributes to that experience. And so I feel like it's impossible to compare where you are with somebody else. And so I kind of have to remind myself of that too sometimes, but it all interlinks. But yeah, I've really been kind of working on building my personal brand, because I recognize the importance of that, especially in today's day and age with AI and how AI videos are becoming more and more common. I think it's more and more important to have a community of authentic people and people that you can connect with, and just having community. I think we spend so much time online, it's important to connect as humans.
Yeah, and the right community that will
Yeah,
actually, they say it's not good if you are the smartest person in the room. So find
absolutely.
communities where you will grow. It's probably one of the biggest reasons why we both are in the elite
Yeah.
community together. How did you move from those early experiences into real estate and eventually into building Aros?
Yeah, well, actually, my first job out of school was as a real estate agent. And so, again, it's kind of this full circle moment where it's come back around, and I didn't even see it coming. But when I look back, it makes a lot of sense. So, I've kind of always been connected to real estate in some way or another. And how did it come back around? I think honestly it was a YouTube video that I saw about investing in real estate, and I was in that mindset where I had been running my own business and was kind of looking for different opportunities, and saw something that just, because I think so much of it is it just has to land at the right time, at the right moment for you in your journey. And someone can tell you something, or you can hear something, and if it doesn't land at the right time, it's not going to go anywhere. And I think that this video that I saw was just at the right moment. It was the right video. It was the right message. And it made me just say, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And I kind of went all in, and I bought a property and started it as a rental property. And that just started me down a path again that I couldn't have guessed 10 years ago. But now it just feels so right. It's like I couldn't imagine of doing anything else.
You were in UK or already in moved to US when you started in real estate?
I was already in the US by that point. I've been in the US now actually it's nearly 11 years. So yeah, this was about 4 years ago that happened.
Cool. Yeah, they say that the same book you can read in different moments of your life and they will hit you totally differently. So that is what you are telling me. That was the right moment for you. So yeah. And
Exactly.
when was the important turning point for you? I think I saw somewhere 2022, something shifted. What was the moment then?
Yeah, that was actually around the time I saw the video. So that real estate video where there was kind of this big shift. I think, to be transparent, I think at the time I was really going through a bit of a rough time with my mental health, and so I was looking for something. I needed more purpose. I think I was feeling a little bit lost, and as much as I really enjoy voice acting, again with AI, I felt like I needed to pivot, and I still do voice acting. I still do it today, but I think that I recognized that you have to be flexible. And I think that you have to be flexible with any industry, with any career, but it was just a reminder at that point that a number of things were happening, and I saw this opportunity with real estate, and it felt like the perfect thing to start building alongside my voice acting. And yeah, just started down this path and just kept peering around the corner. And that's really what it was. It was like, okay, well, what happens if I go a little bit further? Okay, well, what happens if I go a little bit further? And it was allowing myself to just allowing myself to explore and go to places that maybe I might not have allowed myself to go before. And yeah, it's been really exciting.
Yeah, you look satisfied. So
Yeah.
that is a good sign. And can you tell me more about Aros, or what is that actually?
Yeah. So once I bought the real estate, once I bought the property, the rental property, I decided I wanted to get involved in midterm rentals, which I think most landlords default to either short-term rentals or long-term rentals. So either kind of put some furniture in it and stick it on Airbnb, or rent it out for 12 months at a time as an empty unit and have people live there for longer periods. But there's this other niche, which is midterm rentals. So it's basically just in the middle. So no less than 1 month. And typically it's furnished units for temporary reasons, whatever that might be. And there's a number of reasons why people might need temporary housing. But I started learning about the business side of it. So, people that need temporary housing for their employees, whether it be professionals, executives, contractors, traveling medical professionals, or insurance relocations. So families that have been displaced because of flood or fire or whatever it might be. If there's damage to their property and they need it repaired, they have to stay somewhere else in that time. So when I was learning about these businesses that need housing, I realized that I started building relationships with the companies that needed the housing, but I only had one property. And so I started to try and connect those leads of whatever they need with the people that I already knew in my real estate networks. And that's kind of how the idea of my business for this was born. And so I was doing the business for a couple of years, and we started developing the platform Aros, which essentially is a way for those two parties to connect. There's not really a solid platform out there for businesses to find housing, and also for landlords who want to do these midterm rentals, a good place for them to find good guests. We don't deal with individuals traveling, so we don't deal with vacations. We don't deal with people that are just transitioning in homes. It's people coming for a reason. So employees coming with their business, they're on assignment, they're waiting to go home, or maybe families that are waiting for their property to be repaired so they can go home. So it just really brings a different kind of clientele. And so I love this spot where I could be working to create these relationships and find these opportunities, and then just bringing them to my fellow real estate investors.
I would
Because
say
I know
win-win.
yeah, that's right.
You
And
mentioned
I
that.
love that. And, I know what it's like as a landlord to have vacancy. It's the worst thing. Your investment is sitting there empty and it's not making you any money. It's the worst thing you can have. So it was really, really great to be in this spot where I could just be helpful to people and bring value and kind of work hard on this end and bring it to somebody else. And so the idea of the platform is having a place where these two parties can connect directly and both can get good value from it.
It looks and sounds great, but you mentioned also that there was a moment when you doubted yourself and you felt lost. What is actually, because we all are seeking for a change and for some upgrade internally. It must be internally, but sometimes you need external tools for that. Can you share a little bit more about that? And as we talked, also mentioned the coaching. Why you think people need mostly help to upgrade their life and everything experience around it?
Yeah, I mean, life is hard. Like, I think it's really hard. I think especially nowadays when we have social media and we see everybody's highlight reels, and it's very easy to believe that everybody else is doing great and everybody else is finding it really easy, and they just have all these things that just land in their lap, and so often that's just not the case. There's so much work that goes on behind the scenes, and like I said earlier, you really can't compare because you don't know the journey that somebody else has been on previously that you weren't aware of. I think, as I mentioned, I've gone through different stages in my life, in my mental health, and I struggle still a little bit with valuing my own self-worth and thinking that I am enough, or I have enough to be able to create, or what I create is worthy. That's something that I kind of struggle with still, and I think I just keep trying to push myself into situations where I can meet amazing people like you that are doing awesome things, and put myself in rooms where I'm not the smartest person in the room, and I can learn from these people, because I think that you can probably agree that we're all just human. We're all just trying to figure it out. And it can feel like you are very separate from those people when you're not connected with people like that. It can feel like, oh, well, maybe they have something that I don't have, or, but that it's often that they're not. They've been consistent. And so I remind myself all the time to just stay consistent, even when it feels like nothing's happening or it feels really tough, that as long as I keep showing up and I keep doing a good job, then the fruit will come.
Yeah, I strongly believe that systems create freedom, and how important are systems, routines, structure in preventing people from falling back into old patterns. What is what are your thoughts? How important is actually, you mentioned now, the discipline about committing yourself to some things.
Yeah, I think systems are incredibly important. I think you can't scale without them. And I'm learning that too. And as much as I love systems, it's also often hard to actually implement them in the first place, especially when you're just getting started and things feel like they are not regular enough to have a system, but I recognize the importance of those, and even systematizing things that, in your routine, and I actually just finished recently the book Atomic Habits by James Clear, which awesome book. You've read it too. It's so great about, habit stacking and just getting into that routine of doing these things. And I often think about Layla Hormozi's quote, it's F your feelings and follow the plan. And so I agree. I think I'm somewhere in the middle with that, because, I do also recognize the importance of giving yourself grace and taking rest if you feel like your body needs it, but also being able to have the discipline to keep pushing and be consistent. So I think there's definitely a balance that you can find there.
How is that saying? You don't raise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. And that
That's
is
right.
definitely
Yeah,
right.
it's a great
Yeah.
quote. Mm-hmm.
If someone is choosing a coach or mentor, what they should look for? What is important? What you think?
Oh, such a good question. I think especially in today's world where everybody's selling something, and often people can appear as an expert and they're really not. And I think that we have to be sure that the intentions of the people selling whatever it is to you are good. Are they credible? Do they have the experience? Are they at the place that you want to be? A big thing for me is that I have to align morally and ethically with the person that they're, whatever they're selling, the coaching or whatever it might be. And so I take a good amount of time to understand who it is that's selling this program or the coaching, and really kind of check out where they've been, what they do, how they sell, how they work with you. I think that so many people are just quick to sell a course, and before you know it, you've spent your money and then you're not doing the course, and then it's kind of a waste. And so I think it's got to be something that aligns with your way of learning, as well as what they're giving you in terms of the education lines up with what you need.
There are a lot of noise around
There is.
education and different course that you can like finish, and you will like in a click you will achieve all your goals, and that never happens. But for me, honestly, it's very important also the energy of somebody that I need to align with that.
Yeah, when I first actually saw about Dan, because I read his book way before, and so then I followed him on social media after that. And I remember seeing his content and thinking to myself, when I was considering coaching with him, I thought, oh gosh, he seems so hard. And I was like, I just don't know if that aligns with what I'm looking for. And when I really started to pay attention, I think I realized that he is hard, but it's because he cares, and he actually has a huge heart, and really cares about people succeeding for what they want. And when I realized, how he talks about his wife and his family, and
Yeah.
it really made me realize that his values are awesome, and he shares this wisdom with people because he really genuinely wants them to succeed as well. And that really kind of changed the perspective on him and his coaching for me.
What a great thing to achieve, to be successful and then having a chance to help other people. That is something really, yeah, I would love to have that one day. Is there something that you would like to share about your current business, or anything else that I did not ask you?
I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I hope that, part of what I'm doing with my social media, I think, we talked a bit about this before, but building this personal brand that's just, that might inspire somebody, or might give somebody the courage to make the move. Because like I said, there was a long time that I felt like I didn't have enough, or I didn't think I was worthy enough of having my own business, or that's just something that wasn't for me. And I think that we need more people to encourage the people that have that doubt, but also have it within them that they can do it. And it stems from, really, I think, a lack of self-worth, which in itself is terrible, and I hate that. But I think we're all kind of on this journey, and if we can all have a little bit more empathy and kindness in supporting each other, and I think it just could create a really just a nice place for people to be.
This is a very nice place to be for me, because I'm listening to you and it's like you live. I told you I spent some time in Miami and I love the place. You were, yeah, you before that you spent some time in New York, right?
Yeah, I lived in
And
New York for
it's
about
like,
6 or 7
come
years.
on, what is, and it's the same for some other people watching my life. And it's so at wherever point of your life and on the map you are, you can find reasons not to be satisfied, but also to be satisfied. So let's change it how they say, it depends on what you focus on. So I wish you the, yeah, all the best in your work, but also focus on the good things. But
Yeah,
share also, your videos are quite honest and funny, and you like when you are pissed off and you say what you think. And I think people actually, I also have, I struggle with the sharing on social. A lot of times I like, I want, but then after it, the best content is actually created in those emotional moments when you are happy or pissed off, whatever happens. Then you actually share something that can resonate with someone, and that is your crew. You need that crew. No, it's not important that everybody follows you. Just you get your little community that feels the same and share your vision, and yeah, I think
yeah,
that is the most important. Uh, as I started and told you that this podcast is all about uh, we watching our point and our moment of life now, reflecting back and forward. What is your magic word? So if I say you I am in 2026, what word would come in between for you?
The initial word that came to my mind, the first word was discovering. So
That's
I feel
nice.
like I'm discovering in 2026.
Yeah,
Yeah, in my business, in myself. I think, yeah, yeah, I'm open to it.
great. Thank you once more
Thank you,
for your
Andrea.
time and for sharing this.
Thank you, Andrea. Have a good night.
For everyone listening, pause for a moment and ask where I am right now and what I'm building to support that version of myself. If this conversation moved you, share with someone who needs to hear it. Follow AM Podcast and see you in the next episode.